Out of the water creeks, long-legged heron, old priest heron from here on in, all sticks and planks and rubber bands, all clanks and clicks and rusty squeaks. Out of the water creeks, long-legged heron, priest heron from here on in, all sticks and planks and rubber bands, all clanks and clicks and rusty squeaks.
Hello, today's song is called Heron, and I wrote this one for the Boathouse singers who meet in Ellesmere. And we meet in the Boathouse restaurant, which is right on the mere in Ellesmere, and the room we meet in looks over what's known as Heron Island, or sometimes known as Moscow Island, and there's a heronry on the island, and you can watch the herons swooping in and you can see their nests in the tree. And this time of year they're nesting and fledging, and in the Boathouse restaurant they sometimes have CCTV cameras so you can actually watch close up the herons and the little baby herons in the nests. So this song actually comes from a fantastic book called The Lost Words. There's The Lost Words, and The Lost Words was a beautiful book with lyric words, really poems, by Robert Macfarlane, and beautiful pictures by Jackie Morris, and they were written really in response to the fact that a lot of words were disappearing out of children's dictionaries, and a lot of the words that were disappearing were ones connected with nature, being replaced by other words that probably were thinking were more relevant to children today. But the language of children, is a rich one, and I'm sure there's room for all these natural words as well. So The Lost Words was an aim to sort of redress that balance a bit and put those words back to the forefront. And it's a huge book, it's lovely, and it's a book for sharing. And here's our heron, and I just love the words in this one, and I just felt it needed to be set to music so we could sing it at the Herons on Moscow Island, Heron Island, from the Boathouse. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of teaching of it, but actually I think what I'll do then is let the song speak for itself. The words, I say, absolutely beautiful. I provided those for you as a download, so I'll just go through a little bit of the tune. Basically the melody is the same for each of the verses, but I've done some slightly different things in terms of the arrangement. So the first line just goes like this. Here hunts heron, here haunts heron, huge hinged heron, grey-winged weapon. Fantastic words those. So basically the same little melodic idea. Here hunts heron, here haunts heron, huge hinged heron, grey-winged weapon. And that little refrain, that idea repeats quite a few times in the other verses. Then we do a little upward progression. Eked from iron and reeked from blue and beaked with steel. Eked from iron and reeked from blue and beaked with steel. And then from there we come down. Heron statue seeks eel. And that's the first verse, so that's the tune basically. We have the two little repeated, here hunts heron, here haunts heron, then we repeat that, huge hinged heron, grey-winged weapon, then we go our upward progression, eked from iron and reeked from blue and beaked with steel, heron statue seeks eel. So that's verse 1. Then we have a little bit of suspense built in, because herons are amazing. They can just stand completely still like a statue. And this next little verse is really about that, them just waiting. So we have rock still at Weir Sill. And I've asked for a little inhale at that point. And it's really important when you do this that you drop your jaw. Because actually what's quite dangerous is you're taking air in and it's going to suddenly dry out your throat and your vocal cords. You might start coughing, so just be a little bit careful when you do that. But it's the effect I want of that kind of just anticipation. We have rock still at Weir Still, stone still at Weir Sill, dead still at Weir Still, still at Weir Sill. So it's that same idea from the beginning. Here hunts heron, here haunts heron, rock still at Weir Sill. So in recording, what I've done is I've just put a little high harmony on there and a hummed drone underneath it. But as I say, you can just sing the tune. So we have rock still at Wearsill, stone still at Wearsill, dead still at Wearsill, still at Wearsill until, and then something's going to happen. Illness at Wearsill, Heron magically unstatues. And I love this idea of him unstatuing. I don't know if that's a real word, but it's a great word. And suddenly the heron becomes alive. So there's that little upward progression. But what I've done this time, I've made it from a minor to a major at the end. Heron magically unstatues, because suddenly he's come to life. So that's that little bit. As I say, there is a little high harmony that sits on top of that. Rock still at Wearsill, stone still at Wearsill, dead still at Wearsill, still at Wearsill until, and then it joins back in. So the next little bit, we actually go up a key. Out of the water leaps long-legged heron. So actually we're going to take it up a note, and this little bit becomes a round. Everybody sings the same tune. It's the same idea as the tune at the beginning, but we've taken it up a pitch and the pace suddenly gathers, and you've got to imagine this massive heron just starting to come alive. Okay, so I'll just sing through the melody for this little bit. Out of the water creeks long-legged heron, old priest heron from here on in, all sticks and planks and rubber bands, all clinks and clicks and rusty squeaks. Just great words. And that just goes as a round, and you can do it as many times as you like, and it's really good for the articulation, this one. Out of the water creeks long-legged heron, old priest heron from here on in, all sticks and planks and rubber bands, all clanks and clicks and rusty squeaks. And you can loop that round, and the round comes in very quickly. Out of the, and it just kind of chases itself. And you can imagine that heron unstatuing himself and kind of gradually getting himself ready for flight. And then the last verse, we have our heron flying. So we have heron hauls himself into flight, early aviator, heavy freighter, and with steady wing beats boost his way through evening light to roost. And of course we need to go up because that's where he's going flying away. And I've added some little harmonies on top of that in the arrangement, but as I say, the tune is basically the same as the beginning. But we just have a little going up right at the very end. So that's really the song. So it's basically 4 verses with the same tune, but some little different harmonising things if you had more singers, but you could just sing it all the way through without any harmonies at all. So verse 1 is just the melody. Verse 2, we have a higher harmony and we have the sense of anticipation. Verse 3, we go up a pitch and we take it into a round. And verse 4, we have some high harmonies gliding ooh, ooh, over the top of it, and we end up high, which is where the heron is, and suddenly he's graceful and beautiful and flying off into the distance. So that's the heron. Thank you very much. Enjoy singing it.
Here hunts heron, here haunts heron, huge hinged heron, grey-winged weapon, eked from iron and reeked from blue and beaked with steel. Heron statue seeks eel. Rock still at Wearsill, stone still at Wearsill, dead still at Wearsill, still at Wearsill, until eel is at Wearsill, heron magically on statues. Out of the water creeks long-legged heron, old priest heron from here on in, all sticks and planks and rubber bands, all clanks and clicks and rusty squeaks. Out of the water creeks long-legged heron, old priest heron from here on in, all sticks and planks and rubber bands, all clanks and clicks and rusty squeaks. Now Heron hauls himself into flight, early aviator, heavy freighter, and with steady wing beats boost